You know what Jeffrey wants more than anything else? It isn't video games. It isn't Doritos Chili Heatwave Crisps. It's a girlfriend. Jeffrey can't wait to eventually fall in love and have a girl who even loves him, and then they can cuddle and they can spend all of their time together and they can be like best friends and wait, what? Even in Jeffrey's fantasy, his dream girl leaves him. He can't even imagine in total fantasy that any girl would continue to be in love and so sexually turned on by him. That's because he does everything wrong that we're gonna cover in this video. Adonis navigates his relationship in the most ideal way. You and I have so much to learn from him, and so we're in the bushes spying on his relationship. Come on bro, let's see how Adonis is with his woman. That's interesting. They don't really seem to talk to each other that much. He's just in a separate room working out and working on his business. He seems so focused on his craft, and yet his woman seems focused on him. Okay, there he is. He's going out towards her now. Whoa, that's so cute. Instead of just walking in there and just talking to her like she's his friend, he's just went up and picked her up straight away, and there's so much sexual chemistry. He's doing something so different from the rest of us. I've experienced a full spectrum of the kinds of relationships you can have. I remember the first real girlfriend that I had when I was 19 years old, and I lost my virginity to this girl. We had love and even sexual desire, but then the relationship ended just months later because of a difference in our values. Fast forward around 2 years and I started dating the girl who I had the longest term relationship with. And with this girl, bro, she saw me as a total alpha male. She saw me literally sleeping with other girls. She was so sexually into me, fully submissive, down for me whenever I wanted. The sexual desire was there, the love was there from her side, but from me to her, I wasn't a very loving guy. So imagine this girl is totally in your frame, she totally is into you, she's so obsessed with you, she is down to meet you whenever, literally just, it's almost easy for you, and you're almost like a dick to her. You love her and you're so sexually into her, but you're just not loving towards her. And so eventually, years later, the relationship eventually ended, and it was quite sad because we had attached to each other. But then when I look back to this time that I had with this girl, I was never even nice to her. And I'm not saying to be a nice guy, but I was never even loving and appreciative of her. And I look back with so much. If there's one thing, I've been asked this question of what's something I regret? This is the relationship that comes to mind. I regret that I was in a relationship for so long with a girl who was nice and great, and we're not compatible now. It's been a very long time. I'm in a very happy relationship, but when I look back now, it's we were in love, and I just wish I kind of showed that to her instead of being too cold and too negative and almost hostile towards it. I don't even understand why I was like that. What's interesting about this relationship that started with so much sexual desire was that I saw the level of sexual desire that she had in me drastically drop from sky high, as much as it possibly ever could have been, to literally to the bottom where I almost knew that I was more of a nuisance to her than anything else. And imagine that transformation. Imagine being a girl's total alpha male, and eventually you kind of know that she thinks of you more like a chump. It's a very big transformation. Oh man. Whew. I didn't know then what I know now about masculine and feminine polarity. And that phrase is what we're going to talk about in this video. Masculine and feminine polarity. If you can understand this term, you'll be able to maintain and even grow love and sexual desire when you get into a relationship. Now, you might be watching this and thinking, wait, I'm not in a relationship yet, and I'm focused on other things. That's absolutely fine. But you might just want to learn these things because you never really know the next time you're going to get into a relationship and when you meet a girl who meets your standards. It's the masculine and feminine polarity that we need, and we need to break these concepts down. Masculine energy is what you should have as a man, and yet it is a global problem, especially in the West, that most men don't have that much masculine energy. Most men are way more feminine than they should be. Masculine energy is all about work and progress. And I don't say that, you might think away that seems a bit boring. Just trust me when I say a masculine man always feels like he's working. A masculine man always has in mind a mission, an objective, and a goal. Always. You can see those guys who you've heard of who work for 16 hours a day. Those are ultra masculine men. And the thing is, masculine energy does not actually have to mean that he's some big Andrew Tate, jacked, wealthy kind of thing. It just means the energy that he has inside of him. So sometimes you can see a guy with pure masculine energy who doesn't even look that masculine, who doesn't have muscle, who doesn't talk with a deep voice or anything. Some guys have pure masculine energy, and you can tell just because they literally just work all day. It's that's what their focus is on. That's it just gives them enjoyment. They would think to themselves yeah, well, what else would I do? You might not be purely 100% masculine. I'm certainly not. But I found that as I've went from maybe about 40% masculine, there was a big point when I was way more feminine than I was masculine, to now maybe I'm around 90% masculine. I wake up and literally through the entire day, more than 90% of the day, I'm literally just thinking about work. I'm working right now whilst recording this video. I'm doing double work by live streaming whilst even one hit of work isn't enough for me anymore. It's almost like a drug for me. It's like one hit of work isn't enough. I've got to like double the fucking drug doses and live stream myself recording videos. And like I'm doing like 2 work tasks at once. Like that's the level, bro. Once you become really masculine, and you get this from literally just starting to like care more about work. And also I'll explain this, one secret technique that will skyrocket how masculine you are. When you become more masculine and you focus more on work and you focus more on like this mission and you care more about work and goals, and you'll realize that this is so deeply attractive to women because you've watched those videos before that talk about how to attract women through text and everything. What's like the number one technique that they always say? It's to not reply that fast, isn't it? Why do you think that's attractive to girls? Because girls aren't really attracted to the guy who's watching a fucking video like that and he's like, okay, I won't reply fast then. Why are girls naturally attracted to a guy who doesn't reply to them fast on text, or, you know, a guy who seems kind of a little bit avoidant? Because they're attracted to masculine energy. When you forcefully use these tactics that you see on YouTube, like, oh, I'm not going to reply to a message, what you're really emulating is just masculine energy. She thinks you're busy. Women are attracted to busy, masculine men who are focused on work. If you set the goal to become more masculine and you start to learn more about it, and I'll have like a full guide to masculinity pop up. I did this full 1-hour guide. You can go and watch that right now. When you become more masculine, you don't need to play these games. You don't need to act like you're busy on text because you are. You don't need to spend all day with her because, quite frankly, you don't want to. And I know that seems really offensive. What? You don't want to spend all day with your girlfriend? No. How do you feel when I just said that? Are you listening to this right now thinking, wait, what? No, he's got to be weird. Like, I can't wait to spend all day with my girlfriend. That's fine if that's your desire, by the way. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to become masculine, the fact that you have this desire shows that you are full of feminine energy. That's been implanted to you from birth, from this conditioning that you've had, from your parents, from like the Hollywood movies that you see of the guy who's obsessed over the girl. You've been conditioned to think that the way to like build love and sexual desire is to be her best friend and to spend loads and loads of time, like all the time possible together, to like do everything together. You've been conditioned that that's the thing to build a good relationship. And yet that's exactly why relationships end. Use common sense for this question. Through the lockdown of COVID, 2020, 2021, imagine all of the couples who are in relationships living together. What do you think happened to their relationships? Just use common sense here, just broadly. What would have happened to the relationships of the couples who were living together through the COVID lockdown? On average, they would have gotten worse, and a lot of them would have broken up, and a lot of them would have lost sexual attraction to each other, wouldn't they? That's kind of like a common sense thing. That is common sense, isn't it? That a lot of, like my relationship did, but a lot of people's relationships got worse over the lockdown because we were all stuck in together, because we spent too much time together. When a man has too much feminine energy, he's tipped to the wrong side of the scale. He becomes way more obsessive and neurotic and desperate to spend time with the person that he loves. He starts thinking about them. He starts dreaming about them. I've been feminine for most of my life, so I'll tell you how this feels, bro. You go to sleep thinking about the girl that you're in love with. And you might think, well, yeah, of course you do. Like that's normal, isn't it? If you were more masculine, you go to sleep thinking about work. You go to sleep literally, like I spend the last like 20 minutes, and I'm not trying to boast that I'm more masculine than you, that means I'm better than you or anything. It's just like, if you wanted to become more masculine, well, this is how. If you don't want to become more masculine and you're fine how you are, then okay, fine, sweet. You don't need to watch this video. But this is how I spend the last like half an hour of my night. I don't spend it thinking about the girl or anything. I spend it literally planning the work I'm going to do tomorrow. So the masculine energy is literally just all about work, mission, goals. And if that seems really sad to you right now, if you're thinking like, oh, that's so sad, like that's so boring, it shows where you are. And now you might be thinking, okay, well, it does show where I am, and yeah, so I'm not masculine, and like, I don't want to be masculine anyway because that seems boring. And you might think, okay, well, yeah, work is boring. Maybe that's just because your work is boring. Maybe you just haven't found work that you really like find fulfilling yet. There was one particular phrase, like sentence, that I read in a book which changed it all for me, because I thought once, I was like, no, but I don't want to be these guys who work all day. That seems boring. Why would I want to be masculine anyway? Okay, it seems normal, but it's like, I like thinking about the girl, I like cuddling, I like spending time with girls. There was one sentence in this book that said that if you are not a masculine man, you will never experience having like a little bit of like a fight or an argument with your girl and then dropping down passionately making love on the floor. I'll say this again. If you're not a masculine man, you will never have such sexual tension in your relationships that you'll get into like this kind of like heated arguments with your girl. You'll end up fighting, like almost like fighting, and end up literally start fucking immediately. I read this sentence and honestly, it made me feel a little bit insecure because it's such a specific thing, and I was like, fuck, like it's kind of true. You're way more feminine and you're not that masculine. You don't have this polarity with the girl that you're dating. Now, polarity is a very important word that I need to explain to you. Polarity means more of like a push to the extremes. So if we pretend 100% masculine is over here and 100% feminine is over here, being polarized means that you are on these extreme ends. Being depolarized means that you're closer to the middle. You're less masculine, she's less feminine. What does this sound like? A modern day relationship. Most guys are way less masculine, way more feminine than they should be. Most women are way less feminine than they should be. So most people are right here, like in the middle. Sometimes it's even like this. Honestly, like I've had a relationship like this before, but for most people, it's about here. This is called depolarization. And this is the state where the couple can be friends because they're so depolarized. The guy's not that masculine, the woman's not that feminine, and then they're like best friends because this is the friend zone, but not so much in like, oh, he got friend zone, but this is literally like the friend zone where like you can be friends with your partner. And you might think that sounds nice, but like when you're friends with your partner, you will not have like this sexual like feist. You will not feel like a fucking animal around her. You will not ravage her. And if those things are fine, if you're absolutely so secure in yourself that you don't care about having like a great sex life and you don't care about being like the guy who's ravaged her the most in her life, then okay, stay there. But if there's something inside of you, some people can say it's insecurity. I don't know what it is. For me, it was just this desire to think like, bro, like I want to be like a fucking animal around her. When you go like this, it creates like this fucking primal urge where you can't help but like want to have sex with your girl every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes. Where you go like this and you become more masculine and she becomes really feminine. It creates like this huge, constant sexual tension and this like burning, passionate love for each other. Does that last sentence that I just said, does that define most couples these days? Most couples these days are so like mature in the sense of like they're just like two man and woman, but they're just like friends and they're just like normal people next to each other. Most couples are buddies. And again, if that's someone's desire, okay, fine, fair enough. It wasn't mine. How do you build love and sexual desire in a relationship, bro? The only thing that you can do is just become way more masculine. Now, we want and I hope our girl will be very feminine. What I've actually realized, when you look around, the thing is you almost never meet any actually feminine women these days. But what I found is that when you are a very masculine man and you're also very like confident about yourself and you're successful and everything and you have a certain kind of personality which is quite dominant, the more masculine you are, you start to push women to the feminine side. So for example, I meet a woman, this has happened for like the last 2 years, where when there's a girl that I'm about to date, she's a bit more normal, depolarized, a bit more like masculine than she naturally would be because of like her sort of masculine friends, her masculine mother or something. And yet when she's fallen in love with me, by just being in love with a masculine man, she starts to get pushed out, polarized to the feminine side. And likewise, I said that there's one fast tip to become masculine, like faster than any other way. Well, when you date a feminine woman, really feminine woman who's totally focused on you, femininity is all about like being focused on love. When she's totally focused on love and not like her career, well then you become more masculine. You see, we need this polarity, and this is the thing that not only maintains but grows a love and sexual desire, is this polarity, this difference, the fact that we are not equal, we are not the same. That's so like barbaric to say these days that yes, me and my girl are not the same. We're not. We're so different. We're not the same. And honestly, like you might think this is crazy. Like we've even had the talk, but bro, we're not even equals. It's like I'm better than her in so many ways and she's better than me in so many ways. To say that we're equal, like what the fuck's the point in that? If we were equals, if we were so oh my God, we're like best friends, we're so similar. What's the point? We're almost nothing alike. Like, yeah, we've got a few interests. We like reading books and stuff. Okay, we like self-improvement. Yeah, there's a few interests. But it's like we're almost nothing alike with our personalities. I'm sat here. I've literally been double working whilst recording videos and live streaming at the same time. For 3 hours, I've been working. Focused on this. I've had literally like one small thought about my girl. And guess what the thought was? It was for me to turn to this laptop right now, which I'm live streaming, to look into the camera and say, baby, can you bring my charger? Why? Because she's in the other room thinking about me. If she's a feminine woman, she's thinking about you. That's why we need each other. That's why we're in love. That's why there's going to be like this polarity with your sexual energy. So this is exactly what you do. You want to build, you want to maintain love and especially sexual desire. Become as masculine as you can. Become as focused on this like mission, on this like leadership, this guidance. That full guide to masculinity will be like a card and I'll have it on the description and stuff. You can go and watch that and try and learn from that. One thing I'll give you a tip though, I've really messed up with this. Become more masculine, and masculinity is all about work and everything. You'll be focused on the work and the project. I've really messed up and I've made a mistake here. Become more masculine, focus on the work, but also remember that your woman needs to be topped up with love and appreciation and focus. Very recently, for the first time in my life, I've been too focused on work to the detriment of like her feelings, and so I've almost neglected her to an extent that like she felt sad about it. And even though that's a bad thing and a mistake that I'm gonna overcome, it's a kind of a nice problem to have. I'm so masculine and so focused on work that I've neglected her a little bit, so I just need to like pull back a little bit. Why is that a nice mistake to have? Well, think about the opposite side. Think about if you're so feminine, if you're not focused on work at all, that you're too needy and clingy on her. Which one is she going to be more attracted to? The guy who she's really hoping like, oh come on, can you not just spend a day with me? I really want to spend more time with you. Or the guy where she's thinking like, oh come on, can you not just go away? I really just want one day without you. Which one? So it's a okay problem to have, but I definitely went too far. So as you go about this pursuit of being more masculine and being way more focused on work and just being more of like this dominant guy, which you've learned from all of my videos so far, from self-improvement and masculinity, just remember, that like she needs some direct time. So when you go and spend time with her, like we saw with Adonis, and you know, he's working on his business and everything, when you go and spend time with her, make sure it's like total quality time. After I record this video, I'm gonna walk in there and start like playing around, like, you know, play fighting with her. And you know, for the last like few hours, her sort of like love tank, like love whatever, like, you know, tank or battery or something has went down whilst I've been focusing on this. I'm gonna go in there, start like pretending to like kick her or something, we'll start kissing and stuff, and I'll go back up again. Maintaining and growing her attraction and her sort of sexual interest in you is literally all just about keeping that tank up. And it goes up from the kind of masculine attraction that she actually desires. I hope that helps you, bro. Click and watch this video right now, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!